Hello, my name is Maynard and I'm a second year student of Birmingham City University. This year, I attend an interesting module called Race, Ethnicity and Media. This module develops my interest in exploring more about the way things are being portrayed on the media and its impact in our society. In particular, I'm looking closely to a topic about stereotyping in relation to Handswort Riot. I used a mix of primary and secondary research to find any relevant information. I collected my data information by interviewing Handswort residents at random to avoid bias. However, still, to back up my point, I was looking to what other people has to say about how safe it is to live in Handswort on existence online ethnography. At the end of the research, it is safe to say that most people did not recommend newcomer to live or moving to Handswort.
I think that Handsworth has got a bad reputation for a number of reasons. There is, in this country, institutional and systemic racism, and Handsworth is a place that includes a lot of people of ethnic minority backgrounds, e.g. African, Caribbean, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi.
Looking back at the Handswort history, I found some interesting background information. Handswort used to be a posh and well-developed area back in the days. Yale participants on an online forum called Birmingham History Forum commented that she grew up in Handswort and lived there between 1941 to 1956. By then, it was a decent place to live in. This comment referred to how much changed the area to a really poor neighborhood. Another participant said that he lived in Handswort in Soho Road, opposite the library between 1959 to 1961. Because of the immigration, the character of the area was changing. However, to him, it didn't appear to cause any problem. No, not until the riot. It is believed that there are few potential causes that might have led to the Handswort bad reputation and result in Handswort stereotypes. First, the riot. The riot contributes significantly to Handswort's negative image. At least there were 4 major riots were documented in Handswort. In 1981, 1985, 2001, and 2005, the people, who majorly black people and other migrants, were presented on the media as the violent, and the law enforcement were portrayed as the righteous. In one of online resources, it is found that the black community said they had had enough of unfairly treatment from the law enforcement. This marked the beginning of the Handswort Riot.
All I remember was cameramen on our road. I remember seeing our road on the news, and I remember seeing my mum walking back from work on the news, looking at all of the damage that had been done during the riots. But that's pretty much all I know, really. It was just people saying, we've had enough. When the Handswort riots were going on, I was a child. I know that there was a lot of issues between the police and the black community.
Despite the fact that Handswort have had quite a lot of riots in the past, it's undeniable that Handswort is quite a rich community in terms of cultural. So there are some people really love to live in Handswort.
I came to Handsworth in 2001. My first experience of meeting somebody from another ethnic country was around the corner. And I said to him, excuse me, he was obviously from African origin, and I said, excuse me, and he was a young man eating a burger. And so he looked up at me, not very friendly like, and I said, could you tell me where Wycliffe Road is? And he said, oh, yes, I can. And so he said, you just go down there, turn left and then turn right, and then you'll be in Wycliffe Road. And that was something I never forgot after all these years. So it was a wonderful experience. And after I lived a few months and so here, I began to realise that people were extremely friendly here. And they were from all different ethnic minorities and different places. So I began to realise that they got the impression they were a little bit displaced. They're not quite at home here. Well, I was one of those that was not quite at home here. So it became like a family, and I began to love it and love it and love it.
I've lived in Handsworth my entire life, 43 years, and I've seen the pros and cons of living around here. Now, speaking for myself personally, because I've grown up here my entire life and because I'm a community person, from my own perspective, it is not unsafe. Do you follow? Because I tend to know virtually everyone, and if I don't know them, I know someone who knows them. And what I can understand from the perspective of like a female, or especially the younger demographic, like the teenagers, in terms of the old gang situation, then in that case, it may be deemed as unsafe. Well, first and foremost, Handsworth is the epitome of a multicultural society. It's the place where a lot of the Asian and the Caribbean community chose to settle in the 1950s and beyond. So yes, it's a melting pot of different cultures. You know, a very interesting demographic, a very interesting place for someone to come to observe if they're studying sociology, I may say. And from my personal opinion, this part of, well, I mean, we're in Lascelles. Strictly speaking, we're in Lascelles as we speak at the moment. Handsworth is just a stone's throw away over the lights. But Handsworth encompasses working class, lower class, and the underclass also. It was middle class, but to say it's middle class now would perhaps be a bit of a misdemeanor. Handsworth would, on the other hand, and Hampstead, they're more well-to-do, and that would be seen as a perhaps more desirable neighbourhood. But you know, I love Handsworth and Lascelles. It's my home, and it will always be.
Yeah, because it's kind of divided between Handsworth Wood and Handsworth Hockley, isn't it?
Indeed.
Our part is like Handsworth Hockley, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. A lot of people, you know, this current location where we are now, it's a bit of a grey area, so some people may refer to it as Hockley or even Handsworth, but I'm a disciplinarian and I like to go by the strict boundaries. So we're actually in the Lascelles now, and Handsworth actually begins. Can you just turn the camera around for me, please? Handsworth actually begins just after those traffic lights there, for those of you who weren't too sure. But some people will still class Lascelles as going further down Villa Road, but that isn't the case.
In conclusion, the Handswort Riots were events in which groups of people from different ethnic groups fought with each other. Police officers were involved, and the events were recorded and reported for various reasons. I know that not every person from Handsworth joins a riot or commits a crime, but I think the group image could play a big part in giving people a whole new way of thinking about reality. I came to realize that how a group represents a place, person, or situation has a big impact on how the place, person, or situation is seen.